one of the things that they put there. And it says that destroying any nation does not require the use of atomic bombs or the use of long-range missiles. It only requires lowering the quality of education and allowing cheating in examinations by students. If such people, when they cheat and become doctors, patients will die at the hands of such doctors. Maybe the rich experience will tell us something. Building collapses at the hands of such engineers. I was fortunate to be in a vehicle to campus when the Achimota incident happened. That whole building that collapsed. Money is lost at the hands of such economists and accountants. And then you listen to public accounts and you realize that we are in a mess. Humanity dies at the hands of such religious scholars. Yes. So they use religion as a tool. And then justice is lost at the hands of such judges. Think about the judiciary. So if we lower the standards of education, then my good friends, that is what happens. The collapse of education is the collapse of nations. You might disagree to it, but given all the evidence, you know that if we lower the quality of education, allowing cheating in examination by students who become doctors, who become engineers, who become accountants and economists, who become religious scholars. You see, when the illiterates or those who haven't been to school that much, they say it become religious people, we laugh. But when people who have had high level of education become religious leaders, it's a tyranny. So, and they become just and so on and so forth. So that is basically the whole idea. Remember, we at GCTU, myself and Dr. Augustine, we want to give you the best. It's going to be some few sleepless nights, but it is because we want you to hold your head up high. Ladies and gentlemen, that said, please, can I proceed? Or any comment or any question on whatever I've said? This is just a general opening statement. Any comment, question, or can I proceed? Okay, so once there are no comments, questions, I'll just proceed by saying that first, we need to understand HR data, the workforce analytics. We've done some of them, understand the various HR metrics from perspective of HR analytics. Then again, so ladies and gentlemen, last week when we met, I said HR analytics is known as people analytics, is known as what? Talent analytics, and it is also known as Jiva. I mentioned three things.
I think the third one is workforce.
Yes, workforce. Thank you very much. I thought you'd forgotten. So, and once I get to know your names, I'll mention you on and off. That's how I do in my communication, so that I know you are in class. If you refuse to answer, it means you are absent, and I'll mark you absent, or we'll mark you absent. Dr. Augustine has even started, so good. So, ladies and gentlemen, we talked about it, that one of the things is that it provides insight, an insight into the strategic decisions that organizations will have to make. Again, what are the key components and concepts when it comes to this? Now, the key issue is that we need to collect relevant data about the workforce. Now, this data that we are going to collect, right? What should the data be like? And how should the data be like, right? Abigail Owusu, give me one aspect of the data. What should the data be like? Or the data should focus on? Abigail Safo. Yes, if you focus on, you can see it on your screen. So don't. Yes, Gloria, your hand is up.
We focus on turnover.
So turnover. Usually when people raise their hands, I don't like calling them because I want to call at random to see or to have a feel of whether you are in class or not.
Hello, Doc.
Yes, Abigail Owusu.
I'm sorry, my phone just went off.
No, so
So I
sorry.
plugged in on another phone.
Okay.
Please, you called me.
Yes, I was saying that the HR, when we are collecting the data, it should focus on what? It's on the screen. Don't worry, mention any.
Employee demographics.
Employee demographics. So the age of the employee, the sex of the employee, among others. Then performance evaluation, of course. Recruitment matrices, which we'll be doing a lot about. Employee engagement survey, turnover, training and development, which Dr. Gersten has elaborated so much. And then compensation. Again, somebody is using okay, thanks. So once we collect the data, it's also important that there is a need to integrate and manage the data. Data can come from various sources, right? You can pick it from various sources, but one of the key things is that we must consolidate the data. We must consolidate the data. And then when you consolidate the data, you must store it at a secured place. In as much as the data must be secured, it must also be easy for you to access and to analyze the data. Then you move on to the stage of integration, right? And when we are doing the integration, it's often involved what we call the HRIS or HIRIS or whatever they call it. Then we have the ERP systems. We have the specialized HR analytics softwares, which some of them will be using in class. This time around, we'll do a lot of practical engagement. Now, when we are analyzing the data, it is also important that we apply statistical and analytical techniques. The key type of HR analytics that we'll be looking out for is the descriptive analytics, summary, historical data. And this is basic for all data analytics. You have to summarize the data. So once you get the data summarized, you need to diagnose. This was what Dr. Gersten and I were trying to recall, the diagnostic aspect of the data. Then you forecast into the future, right? By predicting, then you provide a prescription for it, right? By providing recommendation. Look at yourself going to the hospital. Take yourself from an HR class. Let's practicalize it. You go to the hospital, you go and see the nurses, they take your temperature. That's why they always advise that you visit a similar hospital or same hospital. They have your historical record. But once they take your temperature, they take all the vitals, you go to the next stage by going to see the data. And then if they take all those information, they have your historical data, right? It becomes history. Once you leave the scene, the doctor then have the information. When you go, you tell the doctor all the listing. He will ask you, do you have past history? Do you have this? If you say no, then he begins to provide a diagnostic test. Once he's diagnosed, he provides a diagnostic test. He will say, okay, he will focus based on this. This is the sickness you are suffering from. Predictive. Then based on that, he will prescribe the medicine for you. which is a recommendation for action. Right. Put yourself as an HR person again. You go to your office in an organization, right? You need to understand. You have data of everybody. Right. Then there comes a problem. When the problem comes, skills acquisition or skills to meet the present need, you need to diagnose whatever it is. By identifying the trends and the patterns as an HR person, where is the business going? Where is the organization going? Do we have the skills? Do we have what it takes? If no, we are looking at the pattern. The pattern is telling us a story. Then we have to predict into the future. In the future, where is the world of work we're going? Where are we moving towards? Based on that, ladies and gentlemen, you say we begin to recommend. We recommend that you employ A, B, C, D, or X, Y, Z people because this is what we see the future world of work. The HR job has moved away from just recruiting people and saying, oh, this is, to looking at all these analytics. Initially, we used to do just this descriptive and diagnostic, but now we are moving to prescriptive analytics and we are looking at predictive and prescriptive. Any question, please? Now, when we look at the key metrics, there are so many of them. Turnover, you are looking at employee engagement score, time to fill for open position, cost per hiring. Sometimes the cost of hiring individuals are too high. So organizations will put in certain clauses that we want what? Some years of experience. The question is who should train who for who to employ? And remember again, organization always want to look at our return on investment training, because I don't want to train people just like that. If I train people, I must have a return for their investment. You don't want to be like the public sector where they train the people, but the return on investment is virtually negative. Because people go and come, and then virtually when they come back, the skills that they have acquired, they don't even use the skills in the first place. And some of them, out of frustration, they leave the public service. Right. So I always ask my brother who is in GS one very funny question. GS has the best. I heard there was somebody in education. If the person in education, a number of you are in education. Let me ask this. So those of you know, GS has the best educated teachers because you are taught lesson notes and all that. But why is it that in the end of the day, how does that training translate into performance, and how does that benefit the whole nation in terms of return on the investment? And why is it that in the private institution, which have the least trained individuals, they perform better than the public institutions? Your guess is as good as mine. Think about it. Anybody who wants to give us just a 1 minute answer? Somebody has logged in with O. Who is O?
Let me add. Please, I am taking attendance with your names that you've used to log in. So kindly rename it to your official names. Other than that, it amounts to absence.
Yes, please. So please do that. The person who has done O, the name is O. Okay, thank you. So look at this. Again, for a prescriptive model to exist, there is a need to use historical data for a predictive model to exist, there's a need for you to use historical data to forecast. What are the trends? What are the outcomes? predicting employee turnover, identifying high potential candidates for promotion. You forecast recruitment needs and you estimate the impact of all the HR intervention on business outcomes. Remember, the most important thing is if it's not even business and it's an educational institution, what is the outcome? We want to move from a third class educational institution to a first class educational institution. What type of HR intervention are we looking at? What is the impact based on our estimation? Again, how do we predict employee turnover? There are some individuals within your organization, you can predict that these people, they won't stay longer than usual. I think we've talked about that a lot. Again, after doing that, then there is a need to look at the decision support. And once we have a decision support, a key aspect of HR issues has to do with that decision support. And that decision support is just simply because we want to generate insight. And the idea for generating the insight is because we want to help so that at the end of the day, we'll make more informed decisions. We make what? More informed decisions. Decisions which are based on data. Decisions which are driven by data. So if we need to recruit, we are recruiting based on the needs and the gaps that have been identified. And I heard Jifa saying the gaps. I said, okay, I remember because last week we also talked briefly about it. Demand minus the supply will lead us to the skills gap, if you remember. Again, key issues: recruitment, retention, performance, succession planning. And this is where we have the biggest of headache. Right? People do not want succession planning. Why? I don't know. But as Africans, as an individual, you always want to say that if you are training somebody, then the person will take over your position. And you know how we like our positions. So we don't want to do succession planning. We'll look at some of the issues. Training and development, and compensation strategies. As HR person, I know that we have intrinsic and extrinsic motivations. And this, when as an HR person you are planning, there is based on the data, you have to develop a strategy towards that. Then a key aspect of it, which is now becoming the issue, and in fact is an area that is gaining a lot of popularity, is ethical consideration. Is ethical consideration. And when it comes to ethical consideration, we are looking at data privacy, security, and fairness. Thank God that now government has they passed right to information. So people can demand that, okay, based on the interview score, I want to see the data. But in as much as that is the case, there are some data which are treated with some level of privacy. Privacy is very, very important as an HR person. You don't share anybody's data at all to anybody, especially people's health records and the rest. Very key. And then security, how secure are the data? And ensuring that there is fairness within the system. And need I say more than to say that at the end of the day, we are interested in getting all this. Remember, descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, prescriptive, 4 different things that we'll be doing this semester. The descriptives are very easy to do. That's what you are used to. And I always tell my students, if you are doing an HR topic and then all that you've done is descriptive, you have then virtually done nothing, because you are looking at frequency, mean, standard deviation. You've not done anything new, or you've not added anything to knowledge. All that you've done is just the same old stuff that we are used to. But we must look at moving beyond descriptive to look at diagnostics. We need to look at predictive, right? And then we need to prescribe, that is, make some recommendation. So finally, after all that, getting all the data and the rest, we must protect employee privacy and avoid biases in decision making. Ladies and gentlemen, I am done with my slide number 2. Any question? If there is no question, as I get to know, Josephine Ewuku, answer, what did you learn from the little discussion we have? Yes, Josephine.
Hello, Doc.
Yes, madam.
Yes, I'm here.
Please, did you hear my question?
Yes, Doc, I'm still following. So you go and come back.
I should
I'll
go and come.
answer.
I'm not going anywhere, and I'm not coming anywhere.
Yes, move to the next person now.
Edith
Come back.
Ewuku.
Doc, I'm here.
Yes, Edith, what did you learn? Please, in my class, I call at random. Agnes, you lower your hand. I know you want to answer. Is there a question or to answer? Agnes.
The man was a question.
Okay, Agnes. Let's Edith answer. After Edith, I'll call you. Yes. Edith. So you people. Okay, so if I call you and you don't answer, I will agree with Dr. Augustine so that we'll start giving -1. If I call you, don't answer,
Doc,
-1.
Doc, I'm here.
Yes. What did you hear?
Um,
Sheila Asantewa Dako.
Yes, Doc.
Yes, what did you learn? What did you hear?
Okay, so I heard that when we are collecting data, we should consider ethical, there should be ethical considerations. We are to look at the data privacy, the security, and the fairness of the data. Thank you.
Thank you. So you have been saved. The rest -1 will follow. Yes, Agnes, your question, please. Hello, Agnes. Oh,
hello, sir.
yes, please. Agnes, your question, please.
My question was, I want further clarification on when you say consolidated data.
Okay, consolidated data. Yes. Okay, so I'll answer that question. Whilst I try to answer that question, Barakas Salam. Yes, what did you learn? Don't tell me ethical consideration, because that is what is being projected. What did you learn, Baraka?
Sir, I learned about how to keep our data safe.
No, but you are
And
talking about ethical consideration. I said no more ethical consideration, Baraka. But you've done well. You at least. Miriam Safo.
Hello, Doc.
Yes. Is it Mariama
Okay.
or Miriam?
No, please, not Mariam.
Okay, Miriam or Mimi. Okay.
It's Miriam.
Yes.
Okay, so I learned that organizations must analyze and use HR data in a responsible and ethical manner. Thank you.
All of you are talking about ethics. Ethics. I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Yes.
Don't try.
Bridget, Ifia, Amprophy. I hope I got it. This the name right.
Amprophy.
Amprophy. Okay, I prophilize it. Amprophy, Ifia, Bridget. What did you learn?
Yes,
Now there's no
please.
screen showing.
Yes, please. We spoke about the predictive modeling. You talked about predicting employee turnover and also identifying high potential candidates for promotion. We also spoke about decision support, where we should generate insights to help make more informed decisions. Thank you.
Welcome. This one, I feel if I have my power, I would have given you marks. It means you really paid attention.
Thank you, Doc.
Yes, you're welcome. Alagbo, Jermaine, Kwame. Is it Kwame?
Yes,
What did you
Doc.
learn? Mr. Alagbo, Jermaine, Kwame.
Doc, yes, I also heard you talk about collecting relevant data for about the workforce, and in doing so, you have to focus on the recruitment metrics, training and development records, and then compensation and benefits information. Those are some of the things that we focus on when collecting data about the workforce for decision making.
Okay, beautiful. So, one more person and I move on. Ameria.
Yes, sir.
Ameria, yes, it's your turn.
Decision support.
Is it Ameria I know?
Yes, please.
Okay.
The decision support you spoke about how to generate the insight, and it helps to make more information decision.
Maria, you are not convincing enough, but I'll take it that you have done your bit. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks too. Now, Portia Ajiman. The last person, and then I continue.
Hello, Doc.
Yes, Portia Ajiman.
Yes. So, spoke about descriptive and predictive data.
Ameria, it seems your voice is far away from us. It's further than we think.
Hello.
Yes, now it's better.
Okay, sorry, I was driving, so I'm very sorry. Right, so
are you safe?
I'm packed now.
Okay, good. Because
right, so you mentioned we should move from descriptive and move to predictive data analytics now.
Okay.
Yes, and if we just focus on descriptive, we've learned nothing at all, such as the standard deviation and all that. So it should be more of predictive data analytics.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. So the next thing I want us to also look at is that we've looked at the definition. There are 4 areas of focus: employee turnover, productivity, employee satisfaction, right? So these are, then there's also employee engagement, which I didn't add. But one of the key things is that each time you hear students talk about, I am conducting a study, I'm looking at employee productivity, then when I read the paper, I begin to ask myself, what are they doing? So we'll take our time and go through some of them. But the key question is, why are we going to worry you about studying HR analytics? Why not HR? Come and talk about your management, your HR theories, and then off you go, XYZ theory, among others. There is a reason. And one of the key benefits of the analytics is that we want to look at the inefficiencies and the gaps within the workforce. What are the inefficiencies and the gaps within the workforce? And we can only do that if we do a good analytics. And when we look at it, we don't just stop there. Inefficiencies gap, we have to then focus, right? So we predict the future. And then how do we predict the future? And then okay, seems the person has muted. Okay. So we predict the future, and then okay. So once we predict the future, what are we doing? We are looking at the workforce needs and then the potential challenges. Remember, we've identified the gaps, right? We've looked at the inefficiencies. We must look what are our needs and what are the potential challenges. Once we are able to do that, we try to then optimize. How do we optimize the talent? Enhance recruitment. We look at retention and development strategies. So I have found out that there is a gap that needs to be filled when it comes to usage of data analytics, right, for HR purpose. So based on where the organization is going, we need such person. We are also going to encounter the challenge of getting the person to stay. So we are going to recruit, and that person that we recruit, we must make sure that we put that person under bondage for a number of years, by which time we would also be able to retain the person, or we develop a strategies for our employees so that they can also learn their skills and bond them. That is why in some organizations, when you go for further training and the rest, you sign a bond. Now, when I come back, I would be in the organization for a number of years. What are some of the importance of HR analytics? Key is this. One, it is a growing field. And it is a growing field, so it is expanding rapidly, and it is critical for all organizations, irrespective of the size. In Ghana, because people don't want to pay tax and they don't want to grow, they always do sole proprietorship. Because nobody wants to, even since the time of Adam, and nobody wants to pay tax. So tax is always a burden. But so we always remain small. That's why most businesses in Ghana have ever been small since you and I were born. Again, it is data driven. So the insight you make is going to be very scientific. And another thing is that it helps workforce optimization. And it aligns what we call talent management strategies with what we call organizational goals. Each organization has its goals. So it is all about talent management strategies. I hope you know talent management because you are an HR person. So I don't need to explain talent management. True of us. You might have done that in your first semester. Yes, Dr. Esther said did it with you. True of us. Nobody wants to say true. because they're afraid I'll call them. So
True.
thank you very much, Mariam. I won't ask you what it is. So now let's look at our data set. We have this descriptive, describe, summarize the past data to understand what happened, right? You are analyzing historical turnover over the years. How many people have been leaving the organization over the years? What has been the productivity level over the years? What has been the level of employee satisfaction? When you are done, you do a diagnostic test. Identify why some of the employees are leaving. Why are others staying? Why is it that employees are not satisfied? That is satisfaction. So you've analyzed the data. The data has told you, but then you investigate the cause. Then when you are done with the investigation, ladies and gentlemen, oops, I think I have moved more than I should move. When you are done with the investigation, you focus into the future. You predict. Based on the historical data, we can predict in 10 years what will happen. So, for example, we can predict employee turnover rates. Then, after that, ladies and gentlemen, you have predicted, just like the doctor, everything about data is also procedural. So after you predict, you prescribe. And this is where a lot of thinking comes into being. Prediction and prescription. Too much thinking must come into being. I like to put it this way. An organization is suffering from its qualified employee or competent employees staying. So it will look at a trend, descriptive. Then it will look at why are these employees leaving? Diagnostics. Then it will focus into the future. If we don't do anything, what will happen? Then based on that, it will prescribe. Imagine yourself falling sick. If you don't like the analysis I'm giving in terms of HR, let's put ourselves in the hospital situation. There's always this descriptive. They look at your health records and they look at all that. They investigate what is causing it. They can predict. And then the doctor will say, based on this, I predict that if you take this dosage, then it will prescribe this dosage. So it is systematical. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't remember anything at all, just remember this diagram. Descriptive, what happened? Diagnosis, why did it happen? Predictive, what will happen? Prescriptive, how can we make it happen? If you don't remember anything, this 4 quadrants, it is just like what the good Bible says. It shall not depart from you. You shall what? Meditate upon it. So descriptive, I have said all that I need to say. So even this one, I can decide that go and read it because it's just virtually going to be a repetition. But good student as you are, I pray you will read. Should I explain or you can go and read? Agnes, should I explain or you can go and read?
That's very small. Then you
Where
go and add up.
Frida, should I explain or should leave it to your faith.
Sir, please explain so that we can get it there.
Razak, you saved me. Razak will say, oh, it's okay. Razak, is a
Doc, please, we can read it. We can read it.
Yes, I told you Razak will save me. So Razak carries the vote.
Razak is a
Doc,
strong
please
man, but
explain.
we will explain more.
Okay, Nana, your hand is up. Nana, please, your hand is up.
Please, Doc, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Nana.
Please, I think you have done a great job. Looking at the predictive HR analytics. Now we can see that looking at our working environment.
Yes, Nana.
Because we lack the data.
Nana, are you sure we lack the data?
Doc, yes. The issue is the approach of which we should get the data to work has become a challenge. For instance, when we go to the government sector, and I can see that most of the work, especially in the health sector, most of the nurses are now leaving the country without even telling them, because of the improper data of this age, not in coping with this future things, we find it difficult to identify the gaps within the health sector. Because if you have a correct data and records keeping, you're able to identify that 1, 2, 3 person has left the job and they are no more, so that we can fill the gap. But because we cannot trace the data and we don't have the data accuracy to track those records, we really find it difficult as an HR practitioner to trace those that have actually left the sector. And it is giving us some of the HR practitioners in the health sector a big challenge. Even though we have the nominal role to track, but the nominal role is not enough to actually track the accuracy record of those that they are leaving. So I think this particular concept is a good insight to me as a person to know that now, henceforth, I have to make sure that I will do my data analysis well, how to analyze my data, how to configure my data, and also identify the gaps. So that henceforth, because normally when external auditors come to your facility and find out this person is no more, but you have paid him or her on end salary. Because of inaccurate data, we find it difficult to trust those records. So it's a very, very good concept at this call. I'm very grateful that you have introduced us to this particular concept. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nana. And I'm happy. I've seen Simon in the chat saying more Vim, Nana. So more Vim. Right. So the good thing is that you have held the nail, the hammer right on top of the nail. Said, but one of the key things is, if you remember my earlier statement, and that is where I'll come and explain Agnes's point. The key is that the data is spread all over. So there is a need for us to consolidate the data. Right? We need to build a data consolidation. And the data consolidation process is not that easy. But we can make it very easy for ourselves. Even if you are not good at anything, start with a simple Excel. And based on what we have, as we move on, we'll try and do some prediction here and there. So we need to look at it. It's a ground rule. I have said this is HR informatics. So we should get hands-on. We should get used to our computers. We should get used to a little bit of cloud computing here, left, right, center. The era where we do a lot of things manual shouldn't be with us, because data abounds, but just that they are scattered all over and they are not consolidated. So I agree with you. The challenge has always been taking the initiatives. And if you live, I listen to a lot of these things, and I asked myself, I will tell you that I have a nurse in a church. She's supposed to be part of our data team. But anytime she comes, when we give her the laptop, she's not interested. She wants to do manual work. A lot of people want to do manual, but we have to move and look at integrating all the data sets, their sources, so that we can predict into the future. Because where we are getting to is all about predictions. What is going to happen? Then based on the predictive nature, we do what? We do prescriptive. But how do you do prescriptive if you have not done prediction? And how do you even do it if you have not even done a diagnostic test and you have also not done a basic descriptive analysis? So we must move from somewhere. The data must speak for itself. If Nana, maybe she is from the health system, if you are looking at the health system, over the years, what has been the attrition rate? The question is, nurses are leaving. Why are they leaving? Diagnostics. Then predictive, the risk of the high attrition rate, what is it? Then the next question is, if I am going to do that, what are the prescriptive? If you do that, it balances out so that if you meet the policy maker and you are supposed to in a meeting say something, you will have your facts and you say it. Because that's all that we are trying to introduce you to. And that is the basics that we need to learn. And it's good Nana has raised the issue. Any question? I saw somebody's hand came up. Gloria, yes. Gloria, your hand came up and then it went down all of a sudden. Yes, Gloria.
I was going to, Doc, please, I agree with Nanewa when he said the X sector are not keeping proper data. I was going to say that if they were keeping proper data, at least there are nurses in the house who are not being posted. They would have known and then posted them.
You see,
that was what I was going to add up to Nanewa's submission.
Yes, again, it's good. But again, you must also pay attention to the fact that we are not posting nurses because we need to what? Post nurses. Remember, you have done a descriptive. 100% of the nurses or 80% of the nurses are in Accra. Right? That is what your descriptive is telling you. Then you come up with a diagnostic. What about the other centers? Then what is your prediction? What then is your prescription? Maybe incentives for those who go into the rural sector, other things. Right. So we would come and look at all that with time, and I like the whole contribution. Probably we would also give it to you as projects so that you come in a group, you do those investigations, you come out, we do the podcast. Then as HR Analytics, we write a little, we publish it out there, and then HR Analytics class, so that we are not only getting certificates, but we are also contributing towards the debate, right? With the data that we get. So it's a good thing. Let's move on. It seems my time is 2 minutes more, right? So descriptive, I won't rush it. I will take our time and go back to it. Again, descriptive, anytime you hear descriptive, is historical data to understand past events and then a trend. We want to summarize and identify patterns. Just like Nanewa said, how many people are leaving? What is the trend? What type of nurses are leaving? Is it the older one, the younger ones? Is it the male nurses, the female nurses? Which people are more sought after? Maybe for all you know, the male nurses are more sought after than the female nurses. Who knows? The data must speak, right? Then, if you are looking at some of the application, maybe employee turnover rates, historical data to understand the attrition patterns. We also want to look at absenteeism as another area we want to track and and then summarize employee attendance trend, right? In some organizations that I know, which we helped along the line, one of the things was that there was a lot of this absenteeism. So all that the organization did was that, okay, we are going to, and sometimes the workers were coming late. So instead of saying punishment and the rest, one of the prescriptive we came up with is, one, get a central bus system. So they have a bus system at a certain location which leaves the work. When they close, the driver brings them to that same point. And the issue about high yes, and lateness were a thing of the past, because we know that when you are coming with your own car, you come at your own risk, right? So it's sometimes it's just a solution is based on the data, and then the data can inform. Now, again, you would have to look out for the demographics. Just as I said, the nursing attrition, which people are leaving. Is it the younger people? Is it the older people? I mean, is it the male? Is it the female? Then, what are the questions addressed by descriptive? How many people were hired? What was the average salary for a specific? How many employees left the organization? And then, what was the absenteeism rate? And so I'm going to stop here. So please, Jifa, please take notes here that next week when we meet, God willing, we would look at a bit about this and then the installation of the software as well. So we'll start from the benefit, but please, you have the material. We made it such that Dr. Augustine and myself made it very simple. It is not very complicated. It's very simple, short notes for you to read, because when we give you the book, I can bet my last penny that you won't read even a quarter of the book. So we have given you short notes. Please and please read it. Please and please do what? Read it for us. Any question before we leave, because the time is up for us. We don't want to exceed people's time. Any question? If there's no question, Sarah, Kote, or Kote, yes, Kote, please summarize the class and let's close. If Sarah doesn't summarize the class, we are all staying. So,
Hello, Doc.
Yes, summarize the class.
I was following, but I'm currently in the hospital, so I was distracted a little bit when I was called to see the doctor.
Okay. Sandra was distracted, so she can't summarize, because if the Nana, Ama, Sapon summarize the class and let's close. If nobody summarizes, we don't close. So. Yes, Nana, Ama, Sapon, summarize the class.
Okay, Doc. So you actually caught me like the last moment. I just finished enjoying my food. So let me see if I can quickly do something and summarize it.
Bon appetit.
So okay, so to summarize everything, I believe we all heard a lot. Doug has said everything, but then one thing we shouldn't forget out of all is the 4 types of HR analytics, which is the descriptive analytics, what happened, the diagnostic analytics, why did it happen, the predictive, what will happen, and the prescriptive, how can it make it happen. So please, this week, let us put these 4 in mind and know that if anything, let us put this in mind. Thank you, sir. That is all I have to say.
Ama, you have done very good. And Ama, Jacob Ofe, as a gentleman, close us with a closing prayer per HR analytics. Jacob K. Ofe, Closing prayer. HR analytics. Jacob Afe, you are not nowhere to be found. Jacob does not want to close us with a closing prayer. So Jacob is absent. Eugene, Ajabing, Deborah, Mr. Please do us the honors.
I did the next best thing and secure the WhatsApp. Thank you.
Yes, Jacob, we are listening. Hello, Jacob. Eugene, are you also there? So class, the gentlemen in the class do not want to close us, so we are still here. Simon. Or Simon.
Yes, Doc.
Yes, close us
Yes, Doc.
with a closing prayer according to HR analytics.
Okay. Basically, when it comes to the HR analytics, like it's giving us from what we have in terms of past and also help us to prescribe solutions for the future, making HR becoming more strategic in terms of making decisions for the company, making a company resourceful and beneficial to all stakeholders alike. So in a nutshell, HR analytics is key when it comes to the decision making of the company and the future in terms of the staff needs and the staff ability and the staff demand and supply for the organization. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much. And then thank you all. Please remember, if your ERP is up, okay, because the internet keeps logging. So if the ERP, the LMS is up, we would start the quiz this week. Yes, please. Somebody mentioned. Is it Jacob? Okay, so we are done. Unless Dr. Augustine has something to say.
No, so just be visiting your LMS portal to verify whether your login, password, and everything is working. Because once we are done enrolling you on the actual quizzes will be started. So please keep checking up there. Yes, Jifa.
Yes, Doc, please, I'd like to thank you for today for clarifying the points for us. But again, I also want to humbly remind you of our request for our colleagues who travel from afar.